Hi, my name is Dan Kenny from Rent a Keg, and today I'm going to show you how to set up a complete draft system, whether this is for beer, prosecco, cocktails, whatever you want to use it for. Along the way, I'm going to show you what the components are and basically how to troubleshoot certain issues that you may encounter when setting one of these systems up. Here we have the gas bottle. The gas is basically used to pressurize the system to push the drink product out of the keg. Now, the type of gas will depend on what type of drink you want to dispense from your keg. This one, for example, is 60% carbon dioxide and 40% nitrogen, so very popular with most beers. Bitters tend to use a 70-30 mix, 30% nitrogen, and then you've got your prosecco and various other drinks, such as certain ciders that will use pure CO2, or in some cases even beer, such as Peroni. This is a primary regulator. We're going to use this to get the gas out of the bottle into the keg at the correct pressure. There are various types of various bottles. This one is for 60-40. We also have bottle mounted ones here which go straight on. This one's got a hose, absolutely no difference. Really, it's going to do with health and safety, where you want to put the regulator. As you often find in most cellars, it's on the wall, or in some, it's just straight off the bottle. So different types of applications really, but for today we're using this one. This is a keg coupler. You will use this to attach your keg to the complete system. You have a gas inlet here and then the product outlet here, so beer, prosecco, whatever you're using comes out of there. There are different types of keg couplers depending on the keg that you have, or more importantly, the product in the keg usually determines this. There are 5 popular types in the UK. There's an A type, a G type, an S type, a U type, and more recently, key keg. Here we have your product cooler. So some people call it a beer cooler. They come in different shapes and different sizes, depending on how cooled you want to make the product or how many products you've got running through it. There are also remote coolers, which are much bigger. They have up to 16 lines in. This one has 2 in, 2 out, so you could run in a lager and a cider, or a lager, prosecco, etc. They also have a water recirculation line. This is used to not only agitate the water to cool it down, but also you can run this circulation line up through your tap to run cold circulation past the beer, keeping the tap cold, making sure that your product is cooled all the way up. Here you have your beer tap, also known as your font, so beer font. You have the tap end here. You have a drip tray holder with a drip tray where you can place your glass when you're pouring your product. You have electrics, which can be used to light up the font itself. Typically uses 24 volt. And of course you have the clamp to clamp it to whatever surface you want. And then from that you then have the beer line, the product line, which comes out, and in this one it's got a recirculation line as well. So again, you can run the recirculated water up through the tap, keeping it cold right to this point here. To install our system, we need line. So this one is clear product line, also known as beer line. It also comes in various colors. White and gray is also used for gas. This is a Python, simply meaning it's got recirculation line in there, so 2 recircs and lots of lines around it. Pythons can go anywhere up to 16 lines. The insulation can also vary too. This is lagging, very, very important. We'll use this to cover our beer line, and what that does is keep the beer cool at all times. Okay, so now you know what all the components are to put together your very own draft system. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to put it together. Step 1, make sure your gas bottle is somewhere nice and safe and secure, ideally up against inside a bar or cable tied to a piece of wood or anything you can find that'll make sure this is secure, it's not going anywhere. Now, as soon as you've done that, screw in the regulator. So now what we need to do is fill the cooler up. So what you would do is you pour water into this hole and let it fill up until the water comes out of that hole. It's called the overflow. Once you've done that, we always advise to hook up the recirculation line. So we're going to get a bit of pre-cut beer line. Make sure that it's lagged as well, so the lagging goes over it so it covers it, keeps it nice and cool the whole time. And then, as you can see, plug that straight into there if you see there's some beer line going in there, and then turn it on. So now we're going to take our regulator, we're going to put in some gas line, attach it to our coupler. Now they're usually marked gas in here, but it's always the bottom one, so attach that. We're going to take some beer line and put it in the top, give it a nice good old push. And then we're going to take this beer line and put it into the first line of the cooler, being this one here. Once you've done that, gently place the coupler on top of the keg. Whatever you do not push it down. Now take your tap and attach it to the bar using the clamping system. Make sure it's done up nice and tight, because when you're pulling on this tap up here, it will pull the whole unit forward. So you need to make sure it's as tight as possible. Use tools if necessary. So once we've done that, plug in our drip tray. If you need to, plug this into a 24-volt transformer, if supplied, and there you go. Now what we need to do is attach the tap to the cooler system. So take some beer line, here's some I pre-cut earlier, plug it into the flow control. We'll discuss more what that does later on. Then we need to lag the line to keep it nice and cool when the product is running through it. So to insulate it using some lagging. Take your line and plug it through the outlet. And now we're all connected. So now what we need to do is connect the coupler to the keg. Simply put the keg in and make sure it's securely twisted if it's an S-type, or whatever keg you use. Make sure it's securely in, because if you press down and it's not, the product will spurt everywhere out the sides, covering you with whatever's in the keg. So whether that be beer, cider, it will not end well. So it's nice and tight, nice and in there, press it down, and there you go. Now that everything's connected, including the keg, all you need to do is to turn the gas on. Now you may notice that you would be able to pour a few pints through the tap system without the gas on. That is because the keg comes pre-pressurized. However, after a while, it will stop working. This is actually one of the many troubleshoot out calls that we actually face on a weekly basis. So now that everything is connected, all we have to do is pour a pint, which is a lot easier than it sounds. To pour a pint, make sure that your glass is at a 45-degree angle and that the end of the beer tap is touching the glass. This is the best way to do it. Pull it back full. As the product starts to rise in the glass, like so, gently turn the glass around and continue the flow. So now that we've shown you how to set up a complete draft system, we're going to show you a few tips and tricks on how to troubleshoot problems when they occur. Okay, so your beer is coming out frothy. There are a few reasons why this could be. The most important one is that you haven't let your product cool for long enough. So if your cooler hasn't been on, hasn't cooled down the product, it will be frothy, especially lager. Aside from that, you may find that your keg has actually run out. It's coming towards the end, so this will create a bit of froth. Finally, your flow could be too fast. So there's too much product coming out the tap. In order to change the flow, use the flow controller found underneath the tap. They come in different colors and different sizes, but ultimately they just twist and turn like that. Use the flow controller to adjust the flow, to slow down the flow. The slower the product comes out, the less likely it is to foam or froth. You may find that your product's not coming out the tap or has simply stopped. Always check the gas bottle to make sure that the gas is on. Secondly, make sure your keg coupler is connected and that the flow control is open. If you're still facing problems and the troubleshooting hasn't worked, it is possible that you may have run out of gas, or there may have been a gas leak where someone has knocked the bottle unintentionally and caused a leak somewhere along the line. To get over this process, it's a simple process of elimination, starting from the gas bottle to make sure you've got gas. The way we do this will be to disconnect the regulator from the coupler and turn the gas on. If you've got gas coming out, then you know it's not the gas bottle. After this, you can work your way through the cooler. Very, very rare occasions in the summer, you might get a frozen line where it actually freezes up the entire line. So you have to change this outlet into the next one, or whatever's available, and you work your way through the process until you figure out where the blockage is or where the issue is. Failing that, give us a call on our emergency number. We're always happy to help.